Yes, sir.
Great. Okay. So how are you today? How are the classes?
I'm fine, sir. Classes, we had school and then now at 12:30 it got over.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. How old are you? Like how old are you right now?
I'm in grade 9 now, 13 years.
13. So what all things
Yeah.
you did, you have done, or maybe what are you doing right now during the lockdown after COVID?
Hi, hi there. I'm in grade 9 and I'm a keen tech enthusiast. I'm always curious about new stuff,
Mhm.
especially technology, and I'm a keen quizzer. Currently doing a project called Code for All for Code, where
Mhm.
I adopted two underprivileged schools in my neighborhood, and I used to go to the schools and teach the schools about basic programming.
Okay.
I visited the United Nations headquarters in New York City in early December 2019 to talk about my project there. This was an amazing experience where I got so much inspiration and learned so much. Apart from this, I'm a sport enthusiast. I play TT and cricket for my school, and I'm a huge follower of Formula One.
Okay. Interesting. And can tell me more about this adopting the school part and what exactly did you do over there?
So I adopted two schools in my neighborhood,
Mhm.
and why I took up this project was because I visited a government school with my father couple of years back,
Mhm.
and I noticed there that none of the children there knew anything about programming, technology. They'd not heard about anything in this technology sector.
Okay.
So I decided to take up this initiative called Code for All for Code, where I taught them basic programming on the language Scratch, which was developed by MIT, so
Mhm.
that I could expose the world of programming to them.
Okay. And how was the experience? Like, for how long did you teach them? Like, were you teaching them, and what were the grade of these students?
Yeah, I was teaching them, and the grade was similar to me. I was in eighth when I used to go there,
Mm-hmm.
so I used to teach children of grade 7, 8, and 9
Mm-hmm.
because I taught this specific age group because even I was of the similar age. I could also think how they would be thinking about this technology and programming.
Okay.
So I decided to tackle the age group similar to mine so that it would be a bit easier.
And how was the response? Like, how many students were you teaching, and were you going every day to that school? Was that a government school?
One was a government school and one was private, but I used to teach about 25 students each class,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to go every Saturday. If not every Saturday, if I had school, or I would try my best to visit alternate Saturdays.
Okay.
And I used to teach 25 children per class, and the response was quite good. At the starting, no one knew anything about programming, as I already mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
and it was quite tough to get them to know something which they have never even heard of before. So at first, it was tough for me also to teach, and it was tough for them to comprehend what I was teaching. So it was a challenge at first, and people used to make fun of me, saying that he's our age, let's just take him lightly, he doesn't know what he's doing. But similarly, we've gone up, we've brought up a relationship, and now me and the students are just friends now.
So you said you went to the school and you interacted with the students, and you said that
Yeah.
you got to know that they don't know nothing about coding and all. And why do you think it's really important for uh, students to know coding from grade 7th or 8th itself? Like, why did it stuck with you?
Yeah, so I think coding is the need of the hour
Mm-hmm.
because, as you can see in India, you have so many digital industries growing, and at the other hand, you have so many underprivileged children who don't have any access. So this gap is called the digital divide.
Mm-hmm.
So I focus on the digital divide and try to bridge that gap so that everyone has access to technology, and as you know, technology makes life so easy right now,
Yeah.
so giving some awareness to these children about technology can help bridge the digital divide.
Okay. Um, all right. And why are you so much interested into tech? Like, what is it about tech which interests you?
Since I was really small, I was really interested into technology, and whenever new technology products, suppose someone releases a new phone, whichever company I'm really interested, I go visit the website,
Okay.
I read about the phones and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
and I got this passion since I was really small. My dad also is a keen tech enthusiast, so maybe I have inherited from him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And okay, great. Technology thing is something, technology adoption is something which has increased a lot.
Yeah.
So that is great. And I'm also like very much, how do you say, excited about the kind of technology interventions or new products, services which are going to come out through
Yeah.
technology, like AI, machine learning, and all of that stuff is very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So after the lockdown, after the
Yeah.
COVID started, like you were going in, you talked about the thing where you were going and teaching these students. How long did it last for?
So I taught them for 2.5, maybe 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to go to the schools and started teaching 25 students at a time. And I used to go every Saturday, as I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And once this COVID came up, I couldn't go to the schools. It was a bit of a risk.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought of uploading the content which I used to teach in the schools on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I created a playlist of them called Programming for Beginners.
Interesting.
And I on my YouTube channel, I've uploaded a playlist of basic Scratch concepts.
Mm-hmm.
And in the future, I'll be uploading HTML or any other languages.
Mm-hmm.
And the children, I can send the link to them, and the children can view it from there itself.
Okay. So was there anyone else along with you, like your friends from school or from your neighborhood who joined you when you started going?
An expert from Infosys, my dad's friend, he actually took one of the sessions for me in the school, and he showed some really cool, drones, some really cool technology, some really cool sensors. And I too, I used to learn. I was also learning in the class while he was teaching. I think the students also enjoyed that a lot. I also enjoyed that too, and that was one huge learning experience for me too. While creating content for what I used to teach, I used to take help of some of the friends.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my friends were also really interested in coding.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but the sessions were me and my dad used to accompany me, but I used to teach the children.
Okay, so you started kind of uploading playlist and you send the links to them, and
Yeah,
that's how.
yeah,
And
yeah.
like
And my mom, yeah,
go on, go on, go on.
my mom introduced me to the schools.
Mm-hmm.
She does some social service, and she introduced me to the schools and said ask them permission, and that's how I got to know about the schools and started teaching.
How was your experience teaching these students?
It was great. I mean, I've never taught anyone before, and this was the first time I was teaching someone. But it was a great experience. At first, thing they weren't understanding, and not really great at teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So it was first a challenge for me and for the children. But after a period of time, it went on smoothly.
How did you do that? Like, how were you able to overcome that challenge?
So I asked the children what is being tough. Is there anything I could do for you? Which is there anything you are not understanding? Is there anything? Just speak out and tell me if there's something bad. I can improve on that, and
Mm-hmm.
we can carry forward.
And they like that's how you build the relationship
Yeah,
with them.
yeah, yeah.
Great. Okay. What else are you doing in this lockdown? Like along with uploading these videos and sending the playlist and helping them learn coding. Anything else which you're doing?
So myself, I have been learning too. Not that I know everything. So I have been learning too. On Coursera, I've been doing some courses on HTML, CSS, JavaScript,
Mm-hmm.
and also continuing my passion. I created a website for my mom.
Okay.
Yeah, I created a website for my mom. I think 2 days back, and published it on the internet.
Okay. Interesting. What is that website about?
So my mom is she sings a lot. She sings a lot, and she's into music.
Mm-hmm.
So I created a website about all the resources we have. She has a YouTube channel, all the stuff she posts,
Mm-hmm.
all the events that are coming up, her concerts, and all of that. Just reminder and the resources also which she has to put it in the website to make it a little more organized.
So you're learning more, like you're learning all of that. Like it's like there are a lot of things but there are a lot of things you still don't know. You're kind of learning that, spending time in this lockdown
Yeah.
at home, learning all of that stuff. What do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to be a software engineer, mainly about AI, ML, machine learning,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm also going to start a project about AI and machine learning using programming software called PictoBlocks,
Okay.
which I will be starting soon.
Okay, great. All the best for that. Mm,
Thank you.
so, like we have been talking to a lot of students through Inspire Ed,
Yeah.
and we might change the name to Students Ke Man Ki Baat
Yeah.
from Prime Minister's Man Ki Baat part. But
Yeah.
I've been asking a lot of them about what are the two things they would want to change around them, or in the Indian education system. So, what would you have to say?
So for me, as children, we sometimes we tend to undermine ourselves, but I strongly believe that we can be role models to others out there.
Mm-hmm.
And age isn't a barrier, and we can be leaders in our own way. Many people think age is a barrier, and just because you're tiny, you can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So age isn't a barrier, and I think we can be leaders in our own way.
Mm-hmm.
And I would want every child, regardless of the background or circumstances, to believe this and follow this.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than point fingers and wait for things to happen, I think we have to take the first step for the change in society. And also, as our country turns 100 soon, we must take matters in our own hands.
Interesting. Okay. Talking
Yeah.
about uh, the education system which we have right now, and a lot of changes were incorporated through the new policy, the new national education policy, right?
Yeah.
So, if I ask you, what are the things you would want to improve in our system, if given a chance?
For me, I think in many schools, there's so many subjects that are neglected. For example, in some schools, they don't have a subject called computer. It's just for namesake, but there is no teacher for it. There is no lab to practice computers. And if you have that passion inside you for pursuing your life in computer science, and when your school doesn't have that subject, I think that has to be bridged. And we have to put computer labs and improve and put subject in schools.
Uh, you also spoke about the fact that we need to kind of take things in our own hand as students.
Yeah.
uh, let's say if other students are listening to you, what suggestion or what message would you want to give to them?
Yeah, I think we must always follow our passion, and the most important thing is to make a start.
Mm-hmm.
And we must continue to build on our strengths, and try to improve your weaknesses that you have. And you must always listen to your heart. You must take the make a make take start make a step yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and listen to your heart and not necessarily the people around you. And you must seek mentors and use all the feedback they give, and we must use it constructively. And last but not the least, we mustn't be afraid to experiment. We always have to experiment, and that's how we learn more.
What do you have to say about the thing that students kind of are scared a lot about making mistakes, and making mistakes or
Yeah.
failing is something which is kind of considered a bad thing to do, to have or to do in the society? What do you have to say about that? Because you spoke about experimentation, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is true that many people think they wouldn't want to try. They say, "Oh, if I make a mistake, what will people around me think?" So I think that is prevalent in society, and that must be bridged. That must be stopped as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And we must give awareness sessions to the people and say, "Back yourself at all times," and try to make that start. And
Mm-hmm.
if even if you experiment and make mistakes, that's the only way you learn. If you just be shy and sit in your box, then you won't be able to learn. You'll just be afraid of making mistakes.
Okay.
So yeah.
Great. Interesting. Okay. Um, okay. And where do you, the last thing which I wanted to know to close this up is the thing which you're doing, like the teaching part, where like after this whole COVID thing is done, or let's say even if
Yeah.
this is, this takes a little time, you're still continuing with the part where you're putting online videos, right?
Yeah.
Where do you want to see this going, or where would you like to see this, in the future, this whole teaching coding to the students? Are you thinking of continuing with the two schools? Are you thinking of expanding it, or getting more people to help you with this whole part now, or maybe in the
Yeah.
future? Hmm.
Yeah. So I want to continue teaching the children, but at the same time I want these children to teach many other children they know who don't have any exposure about technology or programming. So
Mhm.
this creates an indirect impact, and in the span of 1 year, a lot of students would be impacted. So I would also want to take up new schools, and at the same time, as I told, I want these children also to teach other people, so the impact is doubled.
Mhm.
And I also want the kids to believe that technology is well within their reach, and one day soon they will be able to get it. And the problems I want to solve are around the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, like no poverty, quality education, and decent work and economic growth. So
Mhm.
the project I'm doing impacts these three SDGs of the UN.
Can you tell me more about the project?
Sorry about that?
The project, like the project which you just spoke about, is that
Yeah.
the new project which will be starting?
No, I
Okay,
meant that.
the same project. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, there are like 17 goals of the UN that
Mhm.
by the year 2030 they would want they would want the problems in society to be fixed by these 17 sustainable development goals.
Correct.
So out of these 17 sustainable development goals, the project I am doing impacts three of them, which
Mhm.
is one, no poverty, and two, quality education,
Mhm.
three, decent work and economic growth. So my project impacts three of these sustainable development goals.
Interesting. It will be really interesting to see where you go ahead with the project and what impact you're able to make. But I would definitely say that whatever work you have done till now, it's really inspiring. It's great what you're doing, and let's all the best of luck to you for the kind of
Thank you so
impact
much.
you're trying to make. Okay. Anything else which you want to say at the end?
Yeah, just one last, the same thing again. We must always follow our passion and have that fire in you, that you have to make a start. Don't be afraid to experiment and seek help of mentors and use their feedback constructively, and this will kind of ignite the spark in you. I would take this opportunity to thank 1M1B, 1 million for 1 billion, for honing my leadership skills and getting my project started, which was really important. I'd also like to thank Kiran Uncle from Infosys, the expert, and for always being a mentor and always being available to help me. And I would also a huge thank you to Involve and Avnish sir for having me here. It was really inspiring to speak here. Thank you once again.
Great. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for taking your time